Okay, so in this episode, well, honestly, if when the whole thing started with them having a future, you kind of get confused to know which to really focus on. Like, for example, here, this is actually 10 years before when they graduated and going to work, which they still look the same. So you have to really know in this first part, you have to really know what you're looking at. Are you looking at 10 years in the future or 10 years in the past? In this case, you're looking at 10 years in the future and they're talking about their life, but then it switched back to 10 years later when they're literally in the same park, and then Jerome kissed Jin. The one thing I'm trying to wrap my head around is how they got to this situation. Not really situation, how they got into this relationship. Because Jerome sees the future, yes, but we don't know how we got there. It shows that they're already in a relationship, which means the scenario is different. But Jerome is seeing this and actually making it come true in the past, which means that he is using what he learned in the future to get the whole relationship fast tracked. But we are not sure how all of this came about. I mean, the whole notebook, the whole I like you happened already. So how did we get to the point that it happened 10 years ago, and it's different 10 years 10 years ago is different from 10 years in the future? Both scenarios, same results. Okay, so we're in the present where Jerome kissed Jin, and this result did not turn out the way Jerome thought. In the end, Jin got upset because he thinks that Jerome is playing with his feelings. Yes, Jerome knows Jin likes him. Yes, Jin thinks that Jerome is using him, which kind of looks like it in my opinion, because back then when Jin confessed to Jerome when he was smaller, he initially did not take it nicely and teased him. So Jin thinks that all the whole time he teasing him, this could be part of the tease too, because all his life, Jerome is never nice to him. So to see that this is happening is something that's not what Jin think is happening in his head. But Jerome is trying to explain to Jin that he is changed and he really do like Jin. But let's be honest and put ourselves in reality here. To find out that you're best friend with, enemies with your childhood friend, that childhood friend knows that you like him, and then you grow up and then go to the same university, still tease each other, fight a lot, and then out of all the accident, this person suddenly loves you. Yeah, that doesn't really come overnight, even that's exactly what happened. And Jerome got a big punch from Jin, saying that he doesn't believe what he's saying and he doesn't want him near him, and he's going to make sure that he doesn't share the same room with him again. We went back home and we're writing our journal because that's what we do daily. We put our thoughts and our daily life in our journal, and in it, he wrote that he should always hate Jerome. Literally is trying to find a way to stay away from Jerome. Yeah, Jin writes every little details in this book. I'm shocked he doesn't have more than one journal. Okay, it's the next day and Jerome is getting ready to eat breakfast, and his mother is telling Jerome that their father won't be joining them for breakfast because he went to oversee some business at the business place or whatever. And then Jin came. Jin looked very pissed. He was not looking eye to eye to Jerome. And then the whole situation got very awkward. But then Jerome's mother started taking pictures of Jin because she wants to send it to Jin's mother to clarify or to confirm that she's doing a good job babysitting her baby. After that, Jerome's mother looked at Jerome and Jin and said that Jerome will be need to hurry up to go to university and the dorm because Jerome still has the cast on, which means he's still under punishment, which means he still have to stay with Jin. Jin then looked at Jerome's mother and said that it's best that they don't stay in the room anymore. He wants his own privacy and that he should stay home instead of being around him, which is shocking to the mother, but she agreed, even though Jerome is right there trying to indicate that he doesn't want that. Then Jin got up, but accidentally got a cup fell and it broke and he got cut, but he did ignored it and went outside because he wants to drive, so he doesn't want to drive. Let Jin drive with him. I mean, let Jerome drive with him. Jerome rushed outside to catch up to Jin because he doesn't want Jin to leaving him. He tries to negotiate or try to talk to Jin about last night and how he feels that they should actually come together and talk, but Jin doesn't want to talk to him right now. Jin didn't want to be in the same space as Jerome, so he left the car and went out and got hit by a person on a motorbike, and he fell and hit his head, and now he's bleeding, and Jerome is freaking out. Now my kind of analysis here, I don't think the injury that Jin had would have occurred because it's a motorbike. It wasn't like one of those big speeding ones, so he shouldn't have gotten the injury that he got. But anyways, it's happening and the show is showing that way. Anyways, Jerome started screaming for Jin, praying that he's okay, but he's not. He's bleeding from the head back. That's when Jerome woke up and found out it was all a future dream. It's strange though how Jerome is getting these prediction dream and it's lasting longer than usual. Usually it's like clips of certain places, but the thing is he's seeing it like it's not exactly in the future. So it could be a near future, which is very rare, and I don't understand what's happening with this kind of power that he has. Anyways, at home, Jin is looking for something to eat because he's hungry. It's the next morning, he's hungry. But there is no food. Now, before I continue, I must say Jin's mother failed to actually teach this boy how to survive. Like, there was like cabbage in the fridge. He could have just cooked that. But anyways, the mother calls. And the mother is apologizing for never telling him that she was leaving. Jin was kind of upset at the fact that she did this. So she tried to butter him up for forgiveness. Jin then said, if you send me 20,000 baht, I will forgive you. And she did send that money. She did. And he did forgive her. He did. Oh, also before she sent the money, she told Jin to go over to Jerome's house to get the food that he wants because she's cooking breakfast, and she also tells Jerome's mother to take care of him while she's away. So there's that. Now, 20,000 baht is a lot of money if you convert it to US. So I'm going to convert it to US so you can understand how much it is in your country. Now, 20,000 baht, I believe, is $617 in USD. So if you calculate that, you know it's a lot of money. Anyways, Jerome is getting ready for school or class or university, whatever you call it, and he's looking at the jacket that he knows he was wearing in the future dream. So he decided to change it because if he changed the jacket, maybe the future will change as well, which I kind of get what he's calculating, because knowing that you know your dreams do come true, if you do change your outfit, maybe. But I don't think that's how it works. You might change the outfit, you might change little details, but the same outcome will happen. You just have to know when to save it. But when you save it, wouldn't it mean that you're actually gonna cause another one just differently? Also, I'm trying to calculate something because when he first got the vision, each one of them shows that Jin was supposed to get injured, right? And only one time he ever dreamt about actually getting injured. So what is that saying for us? Okay, so just like the dream, we're downstairs eating breakfast. Jin comes in, greets Jerome's mother. Jerome is talking about the father not being there, overlooking some business stuff. Everything exactly the same as he dreamed, even the part where the cup break. But only difference is how it broke was different. This time, Jerome wanted to rush Jin to go to school early before anything happened. But this time, he broke the glass. So it's a different outcome, but same scenario, same results, same problem. Jin tries to leave. Jerome goes into the car trying to convince Jin to not go anywhere because, let's be honest, he found out what's going to happen to Jin. Of course, you're going to tell somebody that not to go anywhere just to keep them safe. That's not what Jin does. Jin ends up coming out of the car because he's extremely upset with Jerome and went out the gate, and as you can tell, he almost got hit by the motorcycle this time. He didn't get hit by the motorcycle this time because Jerome saved him in time. Anyways, before Jin could ask Jerome any question pertaining to what the hell is happening to Jerome because he's acting weird, Jerome fainted. All the whole information of him knowing to what's gonna happen in the future, the flashes of images of Jin being heard, caused all up in his head, and now he fainted. See, the thing is, too much information in his brain. No wonder it's overloading. Jin called Jerome's friend Farm to tell Farm that Jerome fainted and his condition, and Farm's like, okay, that's what should we do? Jerome is fainted, right? Yes, but Farms tell Jin he needs to get to class because they have a presentation to do and he can't miss it. However, for Jerome, Farms says he's going to talk to the professor to tell him about his sickness, and of course the professor will understand. Jin explained to Jerome's mother about the situation in class, and Jerome's mother told Jin that he can go to class. She will take care of Jerome and hopefully take him to the hospital to get him checked, but also it's the time for him to take his cast off, so that's a plus. Jerome, who woke up, tries to convince his mother to let Jin stay because Jin is going to be in danger. Jerome's mother doesn't really understand what's happening and tries to convince Jerome to come and actually go to the hospital because his life is in danger. Meanwhile, Farm is texting Jerome asking what's his condition and if it's true that he fainted because he heard it from Jin. Jerome didn't answer that question. Jerome asked Farm if Jin reached in class. Farm says no, not yet, and Jerome said text him as soon as Jin reaches in class. So Jin actually got there, and immediately he really texted that he got there. Jerome then asks if Jin is fully okay. Does he look safe? Farmer is looking up and down, and Jin is like, "What you looking at?" Immediately, Farm just goes to his phone and texts that he looks pretty okay to me. So Jerome and his mother reach at the hospital, and you can tell this hospital is one of those fancy hospitals because it has an escalator. Anyways, they're at the hospital, and the mother said that while he's here to take off his cast, she thinks that he should also get his chest checked to see about his head because he complained about his head and he fainted. Jerome agreed about that one. After getting the cast off, Jerome told his mother that the doctor said that even though his cast is off, he shouldn't be lifting anything heavy. The mother then said now that their cast is off, that means that he doesn't have to stay with Jin anymore and be punished. He can stay home. But she also said she thinks it's not safe for him to drive considering what happened. Jerome then convinced his mother that he wants to stay with Jin and if she can drop him off at Jin's condo because that's where he wants to stay. I mean, she didn't question it, she just agreed. Back at the university, Jin is telling my Farm and Van about how weird Jerome is, and ever since that accident he's acting even weirder. Normally they would at each other's throat, cursing, fighting, but it's not like that. Jerome is not willing to fight with him. But everyone is like, but you're acting weird too because you're all talking about him ever since he fainted and all that stuff. And everyone's like, what's up with you? They also said that other from all that, what's the other weird stuff that happened? Jin said there are times when Jerome would sleep and he would wake up in nightmares. He wouldn't tell him what the nightmare was, but he can tell it's very serious. Also, there are other times where Jerome acts very weird, like, stuff happens. He believes that all this happened ever since the accident, and he feels like Jerome is hiding something. Then we looked at Farm because Farm knows stuff. And Van looked at Farm and like, Farm, what do you know? Because you're always around Jerome and you're Jerome's best friend. You should know something. Now, yes, Farm knows a little bit, but not a lot. But he's not going to tell them, so he says that he doesn't know anything. Then you have Mai seizing the opportunity to tease them, saying that it's the five of them, and out of the five, four of them are a couple, leaving him being the single one. And everyone's like, shut up. Everyone's like, what do you mean four of us is a couple? There's no such thing. I commend you because you see it. You read the room. I love that. I just don't love why AJ and JJ have to be single in each drama. Then Mai said, other from all that, was there any other weird stuff? And immediately Jin thinks about the kiss. And all three of them looking at Jin and it's like, so there is something. Then Mai and Van thought that maybe they fought and they punch each other. Then out of nowhere, Farm's like, did you both kiss? And everyone's looking at, everyone is looking at Farm and it's like, where the hell did that come from? But then they look back at Jin and it's like, so did they really kiss? Jin is like, no, we fought. And I'm like, well, technically you fought and kissed at the same time. We both did the same thing. One thing I can say about these two is that for Van, he's trying to be accustomed to living the way Farm lives, cleaning, acting, nice or whatever. But the thing I don't like is that he keeps teasing Farm. Like he wants a relationship, but he's teasing that he doesn't want a relationship. Like, dude, stop spiking the thing where it's not to be spiked. Like, you can't be doing that. He has a heart, I'm so shocked that Farm didn't get upset and just quit. At this point, I'm trying to think. I feel like Van knows that Farm likes him, but he's trying to boost up the likes so Farm can actually confess to him. But the way he's doing it, he's just pushing it at this point. Jerome ended up going to Jin's condo, walked in, sit down, and Jin sit right next to him. And Jerome told Jin that he's not moving out. He's staying in this condo until forever, and he can't tell him to leave. Now, Jin will definitely lie to himself if he said that he didn't want Jerome to stay, because he does want Jerome to stay. But the thing is, he wants to try and move on, but he can't. Remember, you still like him, and him being around you will definitely grow that feeling no matter what. Knowing that Jerome knows that you like him, it just makes it even higher or better. And yes, they share the same room in the same bed, but Jerome can't sleep because each time he tries to sleep, images of Jin getting hurt keep flashing in his brain. And yes, when he closes his eyes, it does show. So he keeps tossing and turning in bed, and Jin finds it very annoying that he's doing this. So Jerome got out of bed and went into the living room. It is now 3:08 a.m. in the morning. Now, I don't know what time he got out of bed, but I'm assuming it's hours ago. And for that, he did not come back to bed, and Jin noticed this. When Jin went out to the living room, he sees Jerome sleeping with 3 cups in front of him. In the cup were coffees, so I'm assuming that Jerome wanted to keep himself awake by drinking coffee, but it did not work. Remember, he lacks sleep since the day he got into an accident. So if he's trying to keep himself awake while fighting, it's not going to work. Coffee is not that strong. Jin sat beside Jerome, and Jerome fell into Jin's lap. Now, it's kind of hard to actually be mad at someone that you like, right? So, of course, Jin is going to admire him. Jerome is fully asleep, and he's now getting the nightmares right in front of Jin's eyes. Jin tries to calm him down, which kind of work a little bit, but the nightmares are something that we, the audience, need to solve. How it happened, how to stop it, when it's gonna stop. At this point, it's a mystery to me, and we have 10 episodes. Actually, it's 5, so we have 5 more episodes to go to see what the hell is happening. Nope, correction, I just looked it up. It's 12 episodes. Thank God. You better had 2 more to it. It needs more. Okay, we're at these 2. I'm gonna lie, Van's sleeping habit is very bad. Anyways, farm phone alarms, but he can't get up because, yeah, Van is sleeping very bad. So, farm put his phone on another alarm just to get a little bit of sleep. I don't get how this boy sleeps this badly, but I don't even know how I sleep, so I can't really judge nobody. Funny thing is, Van was wide awake. He just pretended that he was sleeping. I'm guessing he's using sleeping bad habits to get this close to farm. And it's working. But at what point are we going to realize that we both like each other? Then we see Jerome woke up and realized that he's on Jane's lap, which shocked him. But then he had to pretend that he's sleeping because Jane is waking up and he doesn't want Jane to see him wake up. I guess he just wants to have this little moment. Jane was definitely acting nice behind Jerome's back and when he's asleep. But anyways, as soon as Jane left, Jerome woke up and literally said to himself that he thanked the journal because if it wasn't for the journal, he wouldn't have known how he truly feels and wouldn't have known how adorable Jane is. Okay, so Jerome and Jane got into the university and they're in class, and immediately Jerome wants to have a private conversation with Farm. We all know what they're going to talk about. They're going to talk about the dream and how the dream end up turning to something. But then Van is like, can I come too? Yeah, no. Because they told him that you're going to the bathroom. And Farm is like, Van, you need to stay just in case a teacher comes. You need to actually say we're present for us, like tell them that we're in class for us. So in the bathroom, Jerome started telling Farm about his dream and how long it's taken him. In other words, Farm calculated that this dream he's having is actually coming out too accurate, because normally it will see 10 years in the future, but this time he's seeing like a day before or currently in the future before it even happened, which is very weird because normally he would actually have them like when he keeps spacing hours or a little bit of dream. But the fact that these dreams are lasted longer than expected, it means something, but they don't know what it means. Anyways, they're in this bathroom talking about Jerome to the point that it takes hours till the actual class ended. So yeah, they peed for a long time. When they meet up with Van, Jerome noticed that Jin is not there. Van told Jerome that Jin had to leave. He literally just left. Jerome is like, what about me? Indicating that Jin was the one that drove me to school, I need to actually be with him. In other words, he also needs him to make sure that Jin is actually safe. If I made a mistake just a minute ago, I apologize. Anyways, after Jerome left, it's just Farm and Van. Van is like, everyone is leaving me, but I do hope you don't leave me. Like, dude, stop teasing him. You might actually get the answer that you were shocking to know. After Jerome caught up to Jin, Jerome is like, open the door. Jin is like, nope, now that your hand is all better, I don't need to be your chauffeur. And then he drove off. Now, my thought is, Jerome could have just reached his hand through the window and opened the door. But I'm guessing for safety wise, maybe Jin would have drove off while he's doing that. So no. After Jin drove off, Jerome started having headaches, but also seeing the future 10 years from now, where he's getting ready to go to work. I don't know what work he does, but he's working something. Now, my question about this whole headache thing, is it that his whole body and mind is having so many future occurrence in his brain, it's actually overloading his brain or something like that? When Jin got to his condo, he's literally waiting for Jerome to be literally right behind him to come through the door, but he hasn't seen him walk through the door. Then Jerome's mother calls Jin asking where Jerome is, because when she got home, she saw that Jerome's car is gone and she thought that Jerome is with Jin, which Jin said Jerome is not with him, which now he got another call, and the call is from Tar. Tar is indicating him that Jerome is on his track, so he had to rush to go to Tar. Jerome is driving on the track and he's starting to think about what E and Farm talked about. They started calculating that all this vision thing happened immediately after the car crash. So he thinks that if he drives the car fast enough and crashes car again, maybe those problems or headaches and everything will go away. And I'm like, you're willing to risk your life all over again? You're willing to risk your life again to get rid of this? What happens if everything you think you're doing will end your life? Like, what are you doing? Are you crazy? Before I start, Nui, your waist, your arms, your shoulders, your ear is given. Let me tell you something. You secretly going to the gym. You better give us something for 2026, because I know there is a 2026 for you. If it's there for Tay, it's there for you. Anyways, so Jin got to the track. Jin talked to Tar. Tar said that the reason he's here is that one of his workers got an alarm on the security system, seeing that someone trespassed on his track. And when he got there, Jerome was already driving. Also, Tar indicated to us that he probably called a lot of Jerome's friend, but Jin was the first one to actually come, which means it kind of indicates that Tar knows that Jin likes Jerome. Anyways, Jin went on the track as well, trying to stop Jerome. Jin managed to stop Jerome, but before Jin could actually take out his frustration on Jerome came out of the car and cried and shouting that he doesn't want to do this anymore. He doesn't want to be like this anymore. He repeated it so many times, and I'm like, poor Jin. He doesn't even know what Jerome is talking about, but he knows that right now Jerome is feeling hurt. After we calmed down, Jerome started telling Jin everything about his dream, about his prediction, about all the things that's happening. Jin, however, did not believe, but then Jerome started convincing Jin it's true, because if it isn't, he wouldn't know about where he hid his journal. He wouldn't know about him liking strawberry ice cream, even though he lied he didn't like strawberry ice cream. He wouldn't know much about anything. And those are the things that he tells no one. So, of course, he started to believe it. Then he started saying about he's even seeing 10 years in their future. Jin started saying what actually is 10 years from now. Jerome said that they become boyfriends, which shocked Jin. During all this, Jin started saying that he's starting to believe, because after the accident, Jerome started acting more mature. And Jerome is like, you think I'm acting mature? Jin said yes, because after the accident, he started acting like, he's not childish anymore. Normally, he would have fight him, cursing, but he's not doing that, because every time Jin tries to make an argument, he wouldn't fight back. Not like he normally does, which definitely is an eye-opener for Jerome, because Jerome didn't even notice he was doing all this. Jin then said to Jerome, what's next now? Jerome started hugging Jin, saying that if in the future that they're boyfriends, maybe that's what they should be. He also said throughout the whole time that he finally realized about these things, about his feelings, he never joked about it. And he said he was telling the truth when he said that Jin's notebook literally helped him realize his feelings. And then they kissed. Then he said, even in the future, they're your boyfriends, they should do this, to at least try to test the waters with their boyfriend material type of relationship going. They're gonna be boyfriends. Okay, that's the end of episode 5. Let's wait for episode 6, because I can't wait for what this is going to be